All right. Welcome everyone to this masterclass. We'd like to know where you're joining from in the comment section, whether in the chat or in the comment section. We'd like to know where you're joining from as you watch this masterclass on data analytics. My name is Zacchaeus Akinwale, and I'll be your host, hosting you on this masterclass. I'll be your facilitator for this masterclass. About myself, I'm a data analytics engineer at a blockchain firm based out of Atlanta, co-founder of Credilen, and 6+ years as a data professional, and 3+ years as a data professional in the blockchain/AI industry, which is my niche. Some of my impacts doing data analytics, well, I've led People Analytics newsletter at a top Nigerian bank, driving employee pay raises. I use that insight to drive a 4-day work week, 1 full year pilot program, design data models for multiple industries, generating over $100,000 in return on investment. I've trained over 60+ senior executives in the oil and gas on data analytics for decision making, facilitated GDPR training for 150+ professionals, and developed NLP-based AI models to enhance KYC compliance for cryptocurrency users. Some of my social impact initiatives are we've co-launched Tunex Network to equip teenagers with digital literacy, emotional intelligence, and financial intelligence. I worked with the Netherlands Government Next Economy Initiative in Nigeria, and I have my MBA from Conti School of Business and Technology in the United States, postgraduate from Blockchain and Digital Currency, University of Nicosia, and I host Data and Change podcast. My career mission is to empower individuals and organizations with technology, blockchain, and AI to thrive in a rapidly changing world. That's about me in a nutshell, about my career mission. There are other sides of me, definitely. You're welcome to this masterclass, and even though we said it is free, I can assure you we are getting a lot of value because what we'll be teaching here is not just we are getting it from an industry expert. That means that I'm giving in a context of what it means to function as a data analyst in the industry, not just learning the tools, but everything around it, both learning the tools and everything that encompasses being a data analyst in a full-time employment in a company. So this 3-day masterclass spread over 5 days will introduce you to fundamentals of data analytics, to equip you with essential skills and tools, and to give you a quick to feel hands-on experience that enables you to learn strategically, and a very important word, strategically, because this is going to be very strategic. So it's to improve your confidence to take on real world projects and get a real good paying data analytics role. So why do some people learn data skills and remain highly employable while the others struggle to apply what they learn? So in this free masterclass, it is tailored to help you to ensure that you don't suffer from what we call learner's paralysis, where you keep learning and learning, but you just keep learning the tools, but when it now comes to applying it to real life projects, there's just this disconnect. And I've seen that in a lot of learners. I myself had it when I started many years ago as a data analyst. I learned tools on YouTube, learned how to use this tool, learned how to use that tool, but when it now comes to doing real projects and not just portfolio projects, open source, like projects in a company, there was a great disconnect. I just couldn't connect it. I just could not connect it. It was so weird. And this is what recruiters are always looking for. They want to see not just the tool, they want to see how your thinking process is in solving problems, because the end goal of learning all these things is to solve problems for companies, right? So you gain practical skills that connect directly to real world enterprise applications, and 3 word enterprise applications and career opportunities. Yeah. So let's start with data analytics. So what is data analytics? Well, data analytics is the process of examining, cleaning, transforming, and modeling data to discover useful insights, support decision making, and predict trends. And the reason why it matters is data analytics helps businesses to optimize optimize their process, make them more efficient, reduce costs, enhance customer experience, and gain a competitive edge. So put it like this: if I'm in a dark room, or if you are in a dark room and you want to take something across the room in the same room, but they are at the other end of the room, but it's dark, but because it is your room, you have used that room so many times. We all know this, right? Even though it is dark, it is easy for you to navigate to where that thing is without hitting your leg on something, without hitting your leg on another thing, right? It is very, very easy. Now, that is because you know that room. You know where to pass and where not to pass, right? To get there, and you're going to spend less energy compared to someone that is in that same dark room, but they are not familiar with how the room is arranged. So because it's dark, number one, they are going to spend a lot of time before they get that thing at the other end of the room. Then they are most likely going to injure themselves because they are going to hit their leg against some of the furniture in the room or something on the floor, or they're just going to also expend a lot of energy because they're going to go zigzag, they go here, just wandering around, groping around in the dark. The difference between you and that person is because you know the room, you are familiar with the room, and you know where that thing. So you just go straight to it. So you have spent less time, less energy, less effort to get the same thing. That's what data analytics does for business. It helps businesses to discover insights from their data so that they're able to do more with less. So take note of the word doing more with less. That's the essential of everything we do in the data industry, to optimize and scale our productivity, helping businesses to do more with less cost, less energy, and less time. That's the purpose of data analytics. So in data analytics, we have different types of analytics. We have descriptive analytics, which is more like an exploratory analytics, where we try to understand in a very high level, quick level, what our numbers are saying. Nothing too advanced, nothing too, we are not digging into the why of what's happened. You just want to know what happened, right? So, for example, the sales report, sales dashboard that many of us do online, all those sales dashboard. Okay, we did so amount of sales on a Wednesday, February 22nd of 2024. That's just basic descriptive analytics, and that's where you start from. But when you now want to go deeper, okay, we know what happened. Why did it happen? That's when you now begin to do descriptive diagnostic analytics, which gives you more deeper insight, more useful insight. For example, you have a product and you want to monitor users' activity from the moment they sign up to the place where they're going to make transaction through your app. The end goal is to ensure that they make transaction through your app. So you begin to monitor through the process. They discover that you have so many people that are signing up on the app based on your marketing efforts, but you discover that there are not so many people that are doing transactions. So you want to understand, okay, what is really happening? We already know that based on our exploratory analysis, we know that a lot of people are signing up. You can see the numbers. 20 people signed up on Tuesday, 40 signed up on it. So we can see the bar charts, right? Then when we now see the exploratory analysis, the descriptive analytics for number of people doing transaction and transaction sum, we can see what happened there. But we want to know, okay, why is it that we have so many people that are signing up, but we have not so many people that are doing transactions? So we do some kind of diagnostic analysis. We look at it, heat map, and all of that product analytics. Then we discover that, in trying to find out why that happened, why there's a drop off, we discover that a lot of people were having issue with doing their KYC. When you want to sign up on a fintech app, know your customer KYC. So we discovered that, okay, the KYC part of our app is not as seamless as possible for it's not as seamless as possible for users. So many of them dropped off at that point. So because we have done that analytics to discover why, all we need to do is inform the product team. Oh, look at guys, yes, our marketing is great, our product is great. These people love what we do, but we discovered that a lot of people are having a hard time going through the KYC phase. So it is creating customer churn, which is what we don't want. And based on discovering that, we are giving that insight to the product team. They need to make the KYC process more seamless and easy. You see, that is this diagnostic analytics, and that is a bit more useful for the business. Predictive analytics, financial forecasting, forecasting product in demand. So all of this is just predicting, using some basic advanced analytics to predict outcome based on previous trends. So it looks at previous patterns from previous trends, maybe for like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even up to 20 years. Then it now used to forecast. It tries to forecast, but forecasting is not always actual sometimes, but it can give you an idea and helps you to plan ahead. Can you see that? So the last one is a prescriptive analytics. This is a bit much more advanced, where okay, we've discovered why and when or what happened, but we just want to now prescribe some things. So this is where we bring some more advanced analytics like machine learning. For example, how Netflix recommends movies for you based on your behavior on the platform. You see, so because you watch maybe you watch an epic movie on Netflix, they just begin to recommend other epic movies. They discover that you like to watch epic movies, so anytime you come to Netflix, they're always seeing different epic movies that pop up on your on your Netflix dashboard. You see, that's because there's a recommendation engine inside of Netflix that is doing some prescriptive analytics. It's prescribing movies for you. You see, the same thing goes for your e-commerce website. The things you shop, when they say that you shop for it repeatedly, when they begin to run their ads, they are beginning to target you because you discover that you're always looking for something around shoes. You like shoes, right? There's somebody here that likes shoes. All right, so that's what predictive analytics is. Before we go right into the data analytics workflow, I just want to say something about the data industry. In a nutshell, the 4 major roles we have in data industry. Some of these roles now are, there's the analytics engineer. All of that is evolving, but the 4 major roles we have: the data engineer, data analyst, data scientist, and machine learning engineer. Right? What we are doing here is data analytics, which is useful too. Data scientist is also about analytics, but using more advanced methods for discovering insight, building machine learning models, using machine learning models for advanced analytics. Right? There's a machine learning engineer that builds machine learning models and deploys them, automates them, use them with entire pipeline of the data infrastructure. And the data engineer is more like a plumber. Yeah, the data engineer is more like down the food chain, where they are the basic, where imagine where information we want to use. So when we are doing this training now, we're going to use Excel, CSV file, and all of that. But in a real life company, that's not always the case. Sometimes you have your data that you want to use in about 5, 6, 7, 8 different data sources. You are trying to scrap data from the web. You have some of your financial data on in a database, then another of your product uses data on another different database entirely. Then you need to bring all of that data into one data warehouse, which I'm going to explain. Then that means I need to do a lot of extract, transform, and load. So we are not going too deep into that, right? But just wanted to tell you that there are different roles that exist in the data industry, right? And that is what we have for now. So let's go into it. The data analytics workflow. For every data analytics project or work, there's a part where you collect data. There's a part where you clean data, where you handle some missing values and duplicates and inconsistencies, which we are going to do hands-on practice here and now. Right? You collect your data from different databases, as I said earlier. Yes, even though it's the work of the data engineer to pull all of this data from different databases into the data warehouse, So when you as a data analyst want to use the data, then you now go from collecting data from the data warehouse into your, using your SQL or into your BI tool like Metabase or Power BI or even Excel, right? So you have to still collect data, but it's not as complex as the way a data engineer will have to pipeline data from different data sources into the data warehouse. You pick the data from the data warehouse. The data engineer collects data from the different sources and put them in a very structured format for you in your data warehouse. Then you go to pick your data from the data warehouse. Can you see that? So cleaning missing values, even though the engineers and all of that, they still try to make the data they collected clean. When you want to do your analytics, you still have to do some cleaning. Can you see that? Then when you do some cleaning, you quickly do some exploratory data analytics, which is the descriptive analytics we talked about earlier. Can you see? Which is descriptive analytics we talked about earlier. You just want to quickly understand what your data is saying before you now begin to do some very advanced analysis and interpretation. So what you see here is my own years of experience of working as a data analyst. This does not apply to more advanced analytics like data science or machine learning engineering. And this is just me trying to capture in a very one diagram to help you to understand. Now, this is where a lot of people miss it. They go to YouTube and learn tools. And when they learn the tools, they find it hard to connect what they've learned with. They find it hard to connect what they've learned, right? With how do they apply it to a project? Okay, you do portfolio projects. Okay, just try to do a portfolio project just to show people that, okay, they are planning a project. But actually, those open source portfolio projects, they are not projects. They are just you test running your skills. Because in real life scenario, when you are in the industry, you discover that when you want to handle a data analytics project, one of the very first things you are going to do is to understand the project first of all, not trying to just scramble with data. Because, over the years, I've discovered that a lot of people learn tools online. They just go to YouTube, they learn tools. But you see, they find it hard to connect what the tools they've learned to how to handle a project in an enterprise setting. And this is where I come in. You see, this is my industry framework for you to help you in your mind to have a mental concept of how to handle a full-scale data project. Because this is what the recruiters, this is what the hiring managers, the people you want to work with, they are going to test. They're just going to ask you in 5 minutes, explain how you handle data projects. So you just say, well, I know how to do joins in Power BI. I know how to do join in SQL. Oh, okay. So what does that mean? That is you telling us you know how to use it too. How do you handle a project that solves problem for the company? And this is where a lot of people find a disconnect. And I want to say this, in the Credit community, one of the things we offer is mentorship and community. Yes, you see, as we say in our side, we say mentorship gives you depth and community gives you breadth. Mentorship gives you depth of knowledge, community gives you breadth. What that basically means is that you are guided properly when you are being mentored, and you have depth of knowledge to gain from the mentorship. The community gives you variety to learn horizontally from your peers, and also make it more fun for you, right, to gain some understanding and perspective from other people learning the same way you are learning. And that's what we're offering. You see, this is pure mentorship because you won't see this anywhere. How do you handle a data project from start to finish? This is how. Where you need to understand the project, you don't have to. They come to you. Imagine you are in a company and some of your stakeholders in the company want to understand some part of their business. They want to know, okay, why is this part of our business? They want to know what is really going on, right? Some diagnostic analytics. Are you just going to go straight into Power BI? Just go and be taking, okay, where is the data coming from? Do you want to understand the data? So the very first thing you do when you want to approach a data project is understand the project. What's the objective? Define the impact of the project. What are they trying to achieve? When you understand all of that, it now makes you to now know, okay, if this is what they're trying to achieve, then these are the metrics I need to use. I need to know to ensure that I'm able to give them the right insights. Because if your analytics is being powered by the or is being driven by the wrong metrics, all the insights you ever give to the business users will be irrelevant, and it will make all the effort wasted. So in handling a data project, you start with project understanding, you go further into data understanding, where you try to understand data. After understanding the project, you now need to understand where the data is coming from. How is the data structured? You collect that data from your data warehouse, check the integrity of the data, is it clean enough? Then you now start doing your preparation of the data, where you clean and transform the data, validate the data set is good for analysis. Then do the modeling, where you model your data and analyze based on metrics, you visualize and present your strategic insight and recommendation reports in a very brief nutshell. So this is how you handle a data project, and in a very brief nutshell. So before we go into our hands-on, in a typical modern data analytics stack, not data stack. If I say data stack, that means it includes data engineering, data science, data analytics, and machine learning engineering. But this is in a modern data analytics stack. There is the part where you store data, and the reason why we are using these tools is because, based on our experience in the industry, we are giving you the best tools that are most used. So we are not going to be teaching you, we are not going to be exposing you to tools that maybe just very few companies use. We are exposing you to tools that a lot of companies use, whether in Nigeria or abroad. You see, because we want it to be that when you are done with this training, or with everything you have to do with us in Credilent, you can stand out there, and when that recruiter is speaking to you, they are very sure that yes, you have what it takes to be employed. So there are many tools out there, so many tools for data storage and management. There are so many tools for query transformation. There are so many tools for exploring your data. Well, based on analysis of different markets, and during the course of the week, as this week we are in, we shared the career roadmap with you, and I know that you've really gained a lot of value from that, even the LinkedIn optimization guide. But one of the things I shared in the career roadmap with you is what each market requires, right? So you discover that in that career roadmap I shared with you, you discover that, for example, the Nigerian market uses a lot of Microsoft tools like Excel and Power BI, because Microsoft has a large market share in Africa. But when you go to the North American markets, for example, Microsoft is not as prevalent as it is in Africa, in North America. So you see AWS, then Snowflake, open source tools are more prevalent in North America. If you go to Europe, it's a mix. They use a lot of Tableau, Power BI, SQL, and all of that. If you go to India, for example, Microsoft is the king there. So you most likely will need to use Power BI, Azure, Microsoft tools for your data analytics stack. So, but this that we've shown you, if you can learn your Excel, SQL, and Metabase or Power BI, you are good to go for any tool, for any industry, for any company, as long as you're very good in your Excel and SQL, and one or two business intelligence tools, whether Power BI or Metabase, and maybe some little of Python, you're good to go. So this is what the modern data analytics stack look like. And so we go into the hands-on part of this masterclass. All right, we are here in this hands-on part of the training, where we'll be going through some basic Excel formulas. Let me enlarge this. Where we'll be going through some basic Excel formulas for interacting with data. So these are not formulas for your normal financial analysis that you do maybe when you're trying to do, some of us that do financial analysis at work, try to use Excel to do all those macros and all of that. No, Excel is used for that too, but you see, Excel is also can also be used for data manipulation, data aggregation, data merging, joining, and lookup and search, right? And this is where there's financial analysis using Excel, but this is different. This is Excel for data analysis, right? They are quite different, right? And when it comes to data analysis, this is where you have to start knowing how to manipulate data. So there are parts of where we aggregate data. I just have to categorize some of these formulas so that you know that this is not just your normal financial analysis macros and all of that. Where we do data manipulation, we have to do the if, else, logic, learn, count. These are just very few. There are so many formulas in Excel that you can use for different things for data interaction, for interacting with your data. There's the joining, and some of these things that I'm showing you here. You can also use other tools for it, like Power BI. You can use your SQL. For example, as I have here, the same thing that I have here is what the same SQL query is doing, right? But we're not going to this. We're not going to this. Don't worry. Just don't worry. And so some people are saying, oh, there's code in this thing. Oh, am I going to just relax, right? And we're going to be looking at these Excel formulas to see how we can learn some basic Excel formulas for interacting with our data, knowing how to manipulate data, how to merge data, and how to maybe search and retrieve, right? So let's get right into it. The first one is the sum, which most people might be familiar with, right? And we have a data set here. I have a data set here, as you can see. I have a data set which I'm going to be sharing with everyone, and we're going to be interacting with our data. We have the orders table, which is a facts table. So there's something called the facts and dimensions for data warehousing, where facts store events in a business and dimensions store attributes of the business. So the attribute of the business is, let me explain. So this is just very quick data warehousing concepts. In every business has an attribute and events. So you have an attribute of property. Let me say, for example, someone's name is Bingpe, or somebody's name is Ngozi, right? And Ngozi is a tall, light complexion, beautiful lady. Right? That is our attribute. But now, and that will be stored here, right? Every of our attributes will be stored here. But light, complexion, beautiful, all of that is stored here. But when I say Ngozi lies a lot, right? That is an event that she does, and that is a fact. So it is stored. So when we say fact and attributes, is a data warehousing concept where we used to say a business has a property and attributes, but they also do perform activities like they sell products, they buy products, they offer services. Those are events, those are facts, those are events they do, but they have a property. Probably the business is an auto company where they produce vehicles, right? But where they produce vehicles in that their factory is they are producing things. There is an activity, so that's stored as an event. They sell their products, that's an event. That's why you have all those activities that a business perform is called facts. And what makes up that business is their property. Just like saying Ngozi is a tall, light complexion, beautiful lady. Those are our properties. But when she lies a lot, that's an event. That's a fact that she does. It's an activity that she does. All right, so we have here our data set, very simple, nothing too complex, and we'll just quickly use some of these formulas to learn some Excel quickly. And the first one is the sum, right? Let's say for example, we want to sum. We have a place where we want to sum some values, right? You cannot sum a text value. You can't. You can only sum you can only sum numbers. You can't sum text, right? So let's say for example we want to we want to know the total sum of revenue that our business has done, maybe in a certain period or so and so. So what's the formula to use? It's very basic and simple, straightforward. You just use sum. Can you see that? This is just a simple way to look at it. So to do a sum, we're just going to follow this same order. You sum it. Let's say you want to check sum, for total revenues. Let's say sum total revenues, and what we just need to do is sum, click sum and press your tab or type it completely, and I'm just going to select all the places I want to sum up and close it, and it's just going to give me the entire sum for what I want to achieve. What if I want to do an average or a median? And mind you, when we say average, average is good. There's median. So when you do average, average can be affected. Average can be affected by outliers, right? Average can be affected by outliers and give you wrong insights. Yes, average can be affected by outliers and give you wrong insights. But for median, median is more resilient. Median is more resilient to outliers. So what I mean resilient is it doesn't allow outliers to affect your data. So what are outliers? Outliers are basically things in data. For example, we see in this data, for example, we see there's a range. Then maybe let's say this place. And let me just do the average, then you understand what I'm saying. So if you want to do an average, we have done a sum here. The next formula here is to do an average, right? So we just come here, click equals to sign, do our average, and we have it here. And so once I press enter, it's going to give me the total average on these numbers. Can you see that? Once I do the median, let's do the median. So once I do the median of these same numbers, it's going to give me total median. Now let's see the difference between an average and median. Why you should use. It looks like as though they do the same, but the way they work is different, right? It's just basic statistics. So if I should change this to 68,000 or 680,000, right? Or maybe just say 680,000. This is a very, if you say we do an average of this, we do a sum, it changes the figure. We do an average of, we want to get total average. You can see that it's giving us 36,254. But when we do the median value, it gives us 261. This is more accurate than this because there is an outlier here that is the odd one out. And even though it is there, it may just be that if all your data, all your sales you have made are between $2,000 or $0 to $2,000 you've ever made in your company, and all of a sudden you made a sale of $680,000, and let's say the company has been existing for 5 years, and you made a sale, you have all the products, everything, even the market, the people that are available to buy the market, you calculate everything cannot pass $5,000 in a month. Then all of a sudden in that month you recorded $680,000. There is a big issue there. It may be true, yes, you know, in this part of the world we are always expecting miracle. Yes, miracles can happen. But what if it is, yes, it can be a miracle, glory, yes, hallelujah. But what if it was a mistype error in the database, and which most times it could happen, and you went to do an average, it's going to give you a total wrong figure of what is happening in your sales revenue. So the best calculation to do is what? To do median, which gives you more accurate figure. So when you do a median and versus average, then the median is able to tell you that, oh, it seems there's an outlier because this average is giving us something entirely different. So when we investigate it, it could just be that when this figure was being computed into the database, there were some zeros added that inflated the figure, either by corruption or miracle, or it could just be human error. So it could just be that it was actually $680, right? And if I change it, it gives us back our median. Can you see that the median did not really change that much? Because if I should Control Z, you can see 261. If I should undo, redo, you can see that the median really didn't change that much. What changed was the average. So let's go back to the initial figure that we had. So for count is to, let's say we want to do total transaction. We want to know, okay, we had a total sum of $8,907. We want to know, okay, how many transactions gave us this. So we can do a total number of transactions, right? And when we do total number of transactions, all we just need to do is count. So we do a count and we start from here. We do total number of transactions, 19 transactions, right? 19 transactions gave us these numbers. 19 transactions gave us this number. So I will highlight this as this. Let me make it a bit lighter. So I like this as this. So let's say, for example, we are also doing the same calculations for this place. I'm doing the same calculation for this place. So when I drag, what it just does is Excel just copies the same formula and does it for the same calculation. I will show you now. So you see here that is actually doing this. This one is doing for this one is doing for this. Can you see that? So it's summing k to k instead of j. So because I dragged it, right? And the way to drag it is just by dragging this small dot below this highlighted cell and drag it to copy your formula. But now there's a discrepancy. We are saying, just imagine that we have 900,000 rows of data, right? Imagine we have 900,000 rows of data, right? 900,000 rows of data, and instead of 20, okay, let me say, instead of 19 rows, imagine we have 900,000 rows of data, and we have counted and we say this one is 900,000 and this one is let's say this one is 900,000, is 900,000, and this one is 850,000, right? That means we have a discrepancy of 50,000. Are you going to be manually checking for the 50,000? Where was the issue? Where did the issue? What happened and what happened? No, you use formulas like this. So if you are saying you counted total transactions to be 900,000 and you do for the profits, you now count 850,000, of which it should still be the total number of transactions of 900,000 instead of 850,000, or as in this case 19 instead of 16. So what is the problem? There are issues, there are guys here that are causing problem for us. So you see them, they are a big problem for us. So let's look at them properly. What exactly is the problem? So when you see it, you see that this is why it's counting 16. The count does not count any figure outside of numbers. So what if we have a formula that can give us something better? Use a counter. So I could come here and say counter. You see, there's also count blank, count if, but we won't go into that because of time. So I could count total number of transactions. This gives me the same number, but when this time around, when I come here, it gives me what? 18. So you can see that the counter counts. Let's read the figure. It said the counter is to count all fields including text. Can you see? This one just counts the number of numeric value in a range, but this one counts what? All fields including what? Text values. It will count them. So this is more accurate if you know that there's a possibility of having discrepancies in your data, which most likely in real world cases it is. You have scenarios where your data is not always clean, so you want to use a more advanced this thing. So this is what count. So you use this one as counter. Can you see it? See it here? See my cursor? Look at it here. Let me enlarge. So you look at it. This is the formula we are using, and this is the formula. So the difference is what? Count and counter. The next thing we want to do is we want to go into the data manipulation phase, where there's always going to be a need for you to manipulate data, clean data, right? And when you talk about data cleaning, it's where you want to, clean your data. You want to do some adjustments to your data and all of that. So there are always going to be scenarios where you are going to clean your data before you start using. For example, in this case, look at this kind of guy now. It is a candidate for cleaning. This one is a candidate for cleaning. I won't put name logo either myself. So let me just highlight this back and uncheck them, and I'll change this one to red. So yeah, so when you look at this, let's look at the next formula. If is used to check conditions and return specific results. So let's say, for example, we have revenue. We want to categorize our revenue, right? And we say we want to categorize our revenue to mean that any sale or revenue below 500, you should say it is bad sales. If it is above 500, you should say it is good enough. So what are we going to do? All I just need to do is say if, right, and say I'll select the place I want to apply the logic. The logical test is saying what's the condition. If any number in this cell is below 500, what value if true? If this is true, if this first condition is true, I want you to tell me bad sales. If it is not true, then I should just say good enough. You see that? I close it and I'll drag it. I drag it down. So you can see that it has classified all sales to be good sales, bad sales, good sales, bad sales, good sales, bad sales. So you can see that that has given us the if-else statement has helped us to categorize our data. Then the next thing is left, right, mid, extract part of text. So this one is very powerful because when we have a scenario where, for example, this sheet mode, we want to extract let's say we want to extract, okay, let me use the product ID for example. Let's say, for example, this product ID, we want to extract the characters before the first 3 characters. There are scenarios where we want to extract the first 3 characters. Maybe there are many scenarios where, imagine this is 900,000 rows of data as we said earlier, right? And let me highlight this properly. So this is 900,000, just imagine it is 900,000 rows of data, and you want to just extract out the first 3 characters from your product ID. How do you do that? So this left, right, mid, they are very essential to help us to know how to extract text from a string. So I'll say product key, so product key 1, and I'll say I want to extract, let's use the left for example. We have left, right, mid, right? Let's use left for example. So I'll just say left. These are basic data manipulation techniques. Left, and it's asking me where do you want to select the text to be manipulated. I'll select cell I2, and it's asking me how many characters you want to extract. So it's going to count, because we are saying left, it's going to start counting from the left. So I'll say maybe the first 3 characters. So we start counting from the 1 to 3. So the moment I press enter, you see 4. You see, if I drag this down, it will give me all the first 3 characters. Now the reason why this one is showing nothing is because you see that there is a character here. Space is actually a character. In fact, one of the things you discover in data is space can be the devil in the in the Pandora's box, because it may look invisible to the eye, but you wouldn't know, you would not really know that there's a problem with that data. For example, this number 7, you won't know. This is looking nice, this one is, because there's a space before. But what if I told that there's a space in one of these ones, in all of these guys, there's a candidate here? Or if for example, if I should come to this number 7 and give it space, right? I give it space, you won't still know. You won't know. It's only if you now check, oh, there's a space here. Can you see? This is a big problem. So let's continue. And we are extracting the first 3 characters. That is for left. So what if we want to use right? I want to extract I want to say, let me call this one prod key 2. And we are saying we want to get we want to use this one, and the first 3 characters, it will start counting from the right. Or we can say 4. The first 4 characters from the right, that is start counting from the right here. And I say yes, enter. You see, it will give me the numbers, and all I just need to do is here. So if I see here now, you can see there's a problem. This one is extracting first 4 characters. Space is a character. That's why it's bringing nothing. There's actually something here. Can you see? It's actually extracting the space. Now this one, we didn't even know that there was space here. Can you see? Why is it giving us? Why? What's going on? This is meant to give us a number. There's a guy. Yeah, you see, there's a guy. Oh wow. See that? There's a lot of space. This one too, there's a lot of space. This one too, there's a lot of space. Can you see them? That is why it's actually extracting the first 4 characters, as we said here. You see, and space is a character. So you see why we will use this formula, this string formula ahead. Now, what if we want to use the mid one? Let's say prod key 3. And want to extract mid, we want to use the mid function, right? All we just need to do is come here, press mid, and we want to extract. It's asking me the text I want to use. Yes, is now saying, because we want to use mid, where do I want to start counting from? If it is left, it will start counting from the leftmost character, which is F. If you use right, it starts from the rightmost character, which is 9 in this case. But if it's mid, where we want to start counting the characters from, I can say it will start counting from the 4th character, which is hyphen here. And how many characters after that should it extract out for me? Just extract the first 2 characters after the 4th character. You see, it has given me hyphen T. So I just come here and drag and all of that. Can you see that? So that's why it's giving me, it's not, if I should come here and say after the first 5th character, you see that it will give me TA, because T is the what 5th character. If I should drag it down, it will give me the 5th character. So that's in a way, but this is just a basic way of extracting based on character. A more advanced way would be, let's say, prod key master, and say there's another function that I didn't add yet. I'll just quickly put for us here, which is text before. So let's say I want to extract based on delimiters such as this hyphen. So I'll say any text, I'm selecting this, any text before, I will identify the delimiter, which is the hyphen. Can you see? Then I'll tell it instance number, the first hyphen. Now what that instance number is saying, there are possibilities where you have more than one of this type of delimiter, which is this hyphen in this cell, which is true. We have 2 hyphens here, hyphen here, hyphen here. Yeah, sometimes you may have up to hyphen 3. So it's asking which of the hyphens do you want to start, do you want to extract text before. If I say hyphen, the second hyphen, right, and I press enter, you see that it will extract all the text. Can you see? We said text before. It extracts all the text before the second hyphen, which is here. But if I should say the text before the first hyphen, it will only extract the text before what? The first hyphen, which is here. If I should come here, which is text before, if I should use text after, it's the same thing. Text after the first hyphen, I select this one, and I say my delimiter is hyphen, and it's asking me which of the hyphen do you want to. So remember, this one is text after. You give the text after. So if I say the text after the second hyphen, you get it. It is going to give us this, because this is the second hyphen. So to select the text after. If I should say text before, if I should say the first hyphen, it will give us the text before the what? The first hyphen. So these are just simple ways to get our data and all of that. So the next one we want to look at is length. So we want to check why do you think we need length. So let's say, for example, we want to get we have a column here called city, and we want to check the length of our city name. There's a use case for it. So we say city name length, right? And we come here, and what I just need to do is length, right? I select city, and it will give me the names of the city, right? The length. So this one is not part of it, because these are the summations. So we have gotten the city name length, and there's a use case for it. So let's say, for example, we have in a product feature where we don't want any city name that is, we want to be able to highlight and identify cities that have more than 8 characters. So what do? We have gotten this, then we will combine another formula called the if formula we used earlier. Remember? So we'll say city name category, right? So we'll say city name category, and we'll say, just follow me, if, can you see that? So because we have been able to identify the length of our city name, we now say if any city name that is below 8, what do we say? We say it is too long. Any city name that is below 8, we say is what? Normal. If it is not below 8, then the default. So this is the logic. The logical test is if that number is below 8. If it is true, it will give you normal. Else, if it is false, it will give you what? I can decide that I can say too long. See that? And I close it and I just drag it down. I've been able to categorize my city names here. So you can see that we have a lot of city names that are too long. And okay, let's so we have a lot of city names that are too long here. So we see we have been able to categorize all our city names into categories. So now let's say we have another scenario where we now want to create a city name ID. Okay, not yet. That is when we will be using the concatenate. So now there is the last one. We've been able to treat length and combine it with if for data manipulation to get a category for our city name. Now let us look at it. The trim function. Why do we need to use the trim function? You will see now. Let's say we have, look at our city column, for example. There are spaces. Remember, as I said in this one, look at this guy. There's a space here, and obviously there's a space here. There's a space here. There's a space here, right? There's a space before this guy. Let me even add a space after it. Right, and if I should add a space after, you see that it will change. You see it's changed from 14. Let me highlight it so that you see it. Let me highlight it for you. So you see that so that you understand why trim is important. You see that the length will change from 14 now to 18. Good. Now this is still too long. So why do we need to use to clean our text? Trim is used to clean text, to remove unwanted spaces from a name, which is very important because see, when you are doing data, imagine this is now 1,000 rows of data. What if there are many of these scenarios that there are about 12,000 scenarios where there are spaces and it will not allow your data manipulation or analysis to be proper? You need to clean data. So let's use the city name cleaned. Let me call it city name cleaned. And I'll come here and just say trim. No, this is not transpose. Transpose is a very interesting, very powerful stuff. So I'll say trim and I'll come to city here and I'll drag it down. I'll drag it down still. So you see that Concord now, it has removed the spaces in Concord, the spaces before and the spaces after. Now, this is where there will be issue. So what if we decided to use the cleaned version of our city? Let me minimize this poster code. I want everything to be on your screen. What if we minimize? So what if we instead of doing our city length name on the uncleaned data, what if we do it on the cleaned data? What do you think will happen? So look at it with me. Instead of me using G tool, I'll come and use T. So you see T. You see T here, right? You see T here, and we'll use this. I'll say enter. It's T11, right? I'm using T. So I'll drag down and let everything use T. Notice the moment I remove my hand, you will see that the length of the cities will change and their categories will change. Can you see now? So you can see that these guys, so let me undo this. Let me undo this and you see these guys. So you notice that Madison and Seattle is saying too long. Even Concord is saying too long. But the moment I change, the moment I drag this down so that it updates the formula to be using the city name clean in cell in column T instead of the one in column G as we have here. This one is still using column G, this one is still using column G. So once I drag this down, it updates all of them to using column T. You will see that their city name, their city length and category will change from too long to normal. Can you see that? So this is the importance of this is the importance of cleaning your data is very, very important. So yeah, that's basically it.